I'm here with Jim and Di Cullen in a home they purchased in Carmel about 4 years ago, right?
Yes.
They recently moved here full-time from the East Coast. So tell me a little more about yourselves. Where'd you grow up and how did you meet?
Well, Di and I both grew up in the same town, about 7 miles northwest of Boston. It's called Medford. We're both one of 6 children, so come from large families. We went to the same high school. We were actually in the same class in high school, but not the same social circles. So after we graduated, we didn't see or talk to each other for 32 years. Mm-hmm. And then about 6.5 years ago, we reconnected online.
Right, and the way we met was we were both doing dating online. I had a photo of myself out there, and Jim recognized me from high school in that photo. He emailed me and said, "Are you Diane Kalo?" which is my maiden name. And I said, yes. And he said, well, we went to high school together and our lockers were next to each other. That's how it began.
That's a great story. So if there were 3 words that described you as a couple, what would those be?
I'd say funny.
Funnier.
While it's not one word, I'd say that we're open to possibilities. We love listening to music. We joined a local winery where they have live music all the time and comedy shows. We love to dance. There's places to dance around here. We love to explore the hiking trails that are all over this area, and then to meet the nice and really interesting people in Carmel.
And I would say we're really cute.
That you are. So tell me how you ended up in Carmel.
We ended up in Carmel. It started on my 49th birthday. I had a bunch of friends over and we decided to kind of put a list together of 50 things I needed to do before I turned 50. And so 3 of the items on that list was learning to surf, traveling with my girlfriends, and identifying the location I was going to move to, moving away from the East Coast and moving away from some of the weather on the East Coast. So I combined all 3 of those. I made a 10-day trip plan for the West Coast. I started in Mexico, working my way up the coast, meeting with different girlfriends along the way. When I was in Mexico, the woman who ran the surf camp for women, her name is Bev Sanders, turned out she lived in Carmel. She lives in Carmel, Monterey. So I told her I was going to be visiting it, and she said, "You're going to love it." Sure enough, as soon as I got here, I did a hike to Garrapada, on the top of Garrapada. I was standing there with 2 of my girlfriends, and I turned to them and I said, "I'm going to live here." And that's how we ended up in Carmel.
Wow, that's good. Good story. So how'd you choose Carmel Meadows, and what's some of your favorite things about the neighborhood?
So I guess I'll pick up from the last story and say, so when I met Jim again, I told him that I really wanted to move to Carmel, California, and Jim was all in on the California idea. So I contacted Bev Sanders from the surf camp. She gave me a couple recommendations of realtors we could work with. We got your name, Buff, and we called you. And within an hour conversation, we got a really good sense that you understood the kinds of things that we needed. Jim and I both have 5 adult children, and so we needed enough space for all of our children and our extended family to visit us in Carmel. And we searched for a couple of years and finally found this really fabulous place in Carmel Meadows.
And during one of our earlier trips, Buff, you took us to this beach called Ribeira Beach, and it was just an amazing experience. We had a bottle of wine and watched the sunset. We saw whales, we saw dolphins, we saw seals, and then it turns out that the house you found for us, this one here, is in the same neighborhood as that beach. So we get to go down there and enjoy that all the time. There's a walk on the cliffs above the beach, and we sit on the bench up there and watch the sunset. There are paths down alongside the beach, so we do that all the time, and we just love it. It's beautiful, and
we never thought that we would end up in Carmel Meadows. We think it's a beautiful, beautiful neighborhood.
Yeah.
All right, well, Carmel is pretty special, I have to agree, but if there was one thing you could change about it, what would that be?
We love the weather here, but I will say living on the coast, one of the downsides is sometimes you can get fog, and that it really only happens in the summertime here in Carmel. But if I had to change anything, I guess I would wish for more sunny days in the summer.
Mm-hmm. And what I would say, yes, more sunny days in the summer, but even with the fog, you can drive 5 miles in any direction, north, east, south, and you can get the California sunshine.
That's true. That's true. Well, thank you guys for chatting with me today. It's always fun talking with you.